Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be testing out and reviewing the Ciate pigment palette from the Miss Piggy collection. So first of all, I'm going to swatch all of the shades in this palette. I'm going to show you how to create this really easy pink and gold eyeshadow look, and then just give you my final thoughts and reviews. So before I get the shades swatched, there is a little look at the palette itself, and then there is just a little look at all 9 shades. So I'm going to get this row swatched first and then work my way through the rest of the palette, and I'll let you know what all of the shades are called as well. So there are the first 3 shades in the pigment palette from the Miss Piggy collection, and starting at the top is this really lovely baby pink shimmer that is shade Moi Moi Moi. Underneath that is kind of like it's almost like a taupe brown, a really nice neutral shade that is shade Karate Chop, and then following that is a really gorgeous bright raspberry pink shimmer, and that is a very aptly named Showbiz. So there is the middle row of shades swatched. So starting at the top is shade Pigathea, which is a really nice dusty pink matte shade. In the middle is that hot pink matte shade, that is shade Higher, and underneath that is a golden pink glitter, which is definitely my favourite shade out of the whole palette, and that is shade Diamonds. And then this is the final row of shades from the palette. So starting at the top is this really nice bronze shimmer, that is shade Fashion Darling, and then underneath that is a really nice soft baby pink shade, that is shade Piggy Pink. And last but not least is another kind of soft brown shimmer, and that is shade Prima Donna. So I think you'll agree there's a really gorgeous colour story in this pigment palette. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you how to create this really easy pink and gold eyeshadow look using the Ciate pigment palette. So this is of course what the Ciate Miss Piggy palette looks like. So the packaging is really fun. I do really like it. And then the actual palette itself looks like this. This of course is the pigment palette, so nice little play on words there. And there are all 9 of the shades. So you would have seen them all swatched by now. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first shade of this look, and I'm going to use this shade here. This is a really pretty kind of dusty pink shade, and it is going onto my brush really nicely. So I'm going to pop this all on the outer part of my eye, definitely laying down really nicely. Definitely, as the palette name suggests, it is very pigmented, doesn't feel too chalky, which you can sometimes find with a matte shade. This is actually the first Ciate eyeshadow palette I've ever bought or ever tried out. The only products I've ever tried from them, I think, is like a couple of highlighters. So when I saw this on sale in TK Maxx, I thought I'm gonna give that a go. So here I am now, giving it a go for you guys. Really pretty shade, and has laid down so nicely. Just to add a bit of depth and dimension to the outer part of my eye, I'm going to be using shade Higher, which is this bright pink matte shade, and I just thought this looked really pretty again and would just help add a bit of something extra to the outer eye. So this again is going onto the brush really nicely. It's such a bright pink, and I'm just going to pop that more towards my crease. This is another shade that's super pigmented and is also applying really nicely. It's again not chalky or anything, and there's only the smallest amount of fallout in the palette as well, which is really great. So I'm really liking that, and I'm going to go ahead and do my other eye. The next shade I'm going to be going in with is going to be shade Piggy Pink, which is this much paler pink matte shade, and you probably guessed that this is going to be going on the inner part of my eye, just to keep the kind of inner part of the look just nice and soft. So this as well is going onto my brush really nicely, and It is quite a pale shade, so I don't know whether I'm going to need to build this one up a bit more to look like I've got some eyeshadow on the inner part of my eye, but I am noticing there's a bit more fallout in the palette from this shade. I don't know if that's me going into the pan a bit harder just to get enough shadow on my eye, but it is blending really nicely into those other shades, I will say that for sure. And it is another really, really pretty shade. It is just quite pale and I'm having to pop quite a bit on. Well, that is shade Piggy Pink down on both eyes, and I think it's just looking really nice and just complementing the darker pink shades really nicely. So just to jazz up the inner corner of the eye a little bit more, I'm going to be using this shade here, and it's a really nice glitter. So I have decided I'm just going to apply this one with my finger because it is quite glittery, and I'm thinking if I use a brush it's just not going to pick up all of that glitter. So there it is on my finger. It's such a nice gold just with that pink shift. I like where I've got the lighter pink shade underneath because it is still coming through. Of course, I'll just do the same for the other eye. So I think that's really added something just extra to this eyeshadow look, and it is such a gorgeous shade. I think it's probably my favourite shade in the palette. But moving on now just to finishing off the under eye for this look and testing out of this Miss Piggy palette. I'm going to be going back in just on the very outer part of my under eye, and then back in with Piggy Pink just on the very inner part of my under eye. I thought it'd be quite nice to keep the under eye kind of the same as the top lid, obviously apart from that glitter, because I want that to be the main focus for my top lid. So even with this different brush that's got slightly denser bristles, the shade is still laying down really, really easily. It is so pigmented. I'm finding I'm not having to keep going back into the palette, which is always great because then you know you're going to get loads of use out of it. And now just going back in with Piggy Pink. Of course, I want to get the two blended in nicely on my under eye. There is the eyeshadow all done. Obviously there's just a couple more steps to finish off this look. And first of all, I'm going to be doing my eyeliner. Just going for an eyeliner pencil in my waterline, and I've got this black eyeliner pencil from Primark. And then for my mascara, I'm just going with a black mascara. I have got this Act Natural Defining Mascara from Colourpop. And then lastly, just for my lipstick, I'm using this Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lipstick, and this is in the shade Doll Parts. So I thought doing a pink lip would just complement the pink eyeshadow really, really nicely. So there is my finished look using the Ciate Miss Piggy Pigment palette. So I will just give you a close-up of the eyeshadow so you can see that in more detail. So I do really think that pop of that gold glitter with that really nice pink shift has really added to the overall look, and I think it's definitely my favourite shade in this palette. So now I've shown you the swatches of all the shades and also shown you how to create this look, I'm just going to give you some final thoughts that I have about the Ciate Pigment palette. So just starting off with the packaging, I think it's definitely very eye-catching. It's very obviously that it's Miss Piggy from the Muppets. I think if you've ever watched the Muppets, then it's just instantly recognisable. I like that the whole palette itself is pink and then it has got the shade names on the back rather than written on the inside of the palette. It's also cruelty free and vegan, which is absolutely fantastic. And then opening it up, it has got a really good sized mirror. So this whole piece here is a mirror, and of course you get 9 really gorgeous shades. So I think a really pretty mix of mattes and shimmers and that glitter. So you've got lots of different tones of shimmers, which are great, and some nice tones of the pink matte shades as well. So I have found that the matte shades in this palette do live up to the palette's name. They are very pigmented. They're so easy to work with, and there has been little to no fallout from those, even just within the palette itself when I've been loading up my brush. Now, although I haven't used a shimmer in this look, I did opt for that gold glitter, which did apply really easily with my finger. I think I mentioned as I was applying it that I would probably recommend using your finger to apply it rather than a brush, because I feel like with the glitter shade, if you're using a brush, it's just not going to capture all of that glitter and you're going to lose that pop and sparkle, which is really what you want from the shade. I didn't use any of the shimmers in this look, but they have all swatched really gorgeously and are nice and buttery and vivid as well, which is exactly what you want from a shimmer. So I was lucky enough to actually pick up this palette in TK Maxx. So I think it only cost me about £6.99, which is an absolute bargain, and I think, in my opinion, worth every penny. I absolutely love a pink palette, and I do like that there are a couple of tones in this palette that, you know, are a bit different. So you've got this matte here, which is much more neutral, and even these ones here aren't your standard bright pink shades, which I think just adds something a little bit different to it. So do let me know if you have this palette or whether you picked up anything else from this collection. I would really love to know. But as always, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give the video a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again in my next video.